Hello, everyone, and welcome to D2C Dialogues. Today, we have with us Chirag Kenia, the founder of Urban Platter. What is Urban Platter? Their LinkedIn profile goes like this: simply good food for people who seek a personal connection with what they eat. Urban Platter was founded in 2015 with a vision to deliver simply good food for people who seek a personal connection with what they eat. Our vision is to become your go to destination for everyday essentials and gourmet edibles from around the world. We are passionate about food and we sincerely put a ton of research behind every product available on our platform. Our team curates what's good from what's not so good and makes choices simple for you. Sit back, relax, and whip up delicious delights. Welcome to the show, Chirag.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Well.
So, Chirag, we'll start with the basic question, which is common to all my D2C founders. How did this idea of urban platter come in your mind, and what was that aha moment that made you start urban platter?
Right. First of all, thank you for having me here and to sort of give an opportunity to express and share my journey and insights. So I started this company in 2015 out of my own personal desire to build a food business in India. Prior to that, I was in the business of tech. And I had a urban platter in its sort of a very raw format much before starting this business, in the sense that I used to travel across the world for my business and sort of pleasure, or whatever you want to call it. And I used to just get gourmet coffees from across the world and for my own consumption. And it just occurred to me that let me see if there are people in India who would appreciate something like this. And I used to sell them online on eBay. And this is almost 10 to 12 years ago. And this was simply to, sort of have a conversation or find like-minded people and not necessarily do a business out of it. And that did very well. And I used to have a lot of buyers and, Indians per se, those who are very well traveled, well read, genuinely appreciate this specialty experiences. From that, I sort of, did a few more things like specialty teas from China, like a specific kind of oolong tea from 8,000 feet above the sea level grown in China, to very high quality cardamom, to a different set of products that I personally consume myself. And then as my business tapered off, my tech business tapered off, and I was just figuring out what to do. I decided to, focus on food sort of a business full time. And as luck would have it, Amazon had just entered India, and they're very big on grocery in the US, as I was aware. So we started, offering all the gourmet imported food products on Amazon India, and that did phenomenally well. And then I also started introducing the coffees and teas and stuff that I personally liked of a particular origin to Amazon India customers and sort of added to our product offering. So we had a very specific problem, which was on Amazon, you cannot sell coffee. You need to sell the next brand coffee. You cannot sell commodities. You have to sell branded commodities only. So, in literally 3 seconds, I came up with this name Urban Platter. It just sounded right. And there was no logic or sort of sense to it. It was just a eureka moment. And we just sort of onboarded our entire catalog. And very early on, we realized a couple of things, that served us right for the next few years was that, with every new channel of distribution opening up, a new generation of brands and a new set of products has to be made available. You cannot take the same product on a different distribution channel and expect the same success. The consumption pattern, the purchase pattern of a consumer in a general store versus a modern trade outlet versus an e-commerce marketplace versus a quick commerce sort of an app is very different. And in to succeed in every format, you need different product, different packaging, different pricing. And in e-commerce in India specifically, there is a lot of convenience because food products are going to be delivered to your doorstep and stuff like that. So the packaging has to be very different quality. It has to be designed in such a way that the product comes to the consumer intact, and even the pricing has to sort of make sense. And so typically when people online, they don't mind buying more quantity also. So smaller portion packs like 50 grams or 100 grams don't make sense. Typically half a kilo, 1 kilo, good value packs make sense. So these were our very early on very clear learning. And one thing we started noticing was people started asking for very specific ingredients from specific regions or provenance. They want a particular chili from a particular region of India, or they want olive oil from Greece, or they want a sort of a particular ingredient which is used in Korean cuisine. So these were the trends that we started observing. होता क्या है generally, consumers are very discerning in the sense that they don't talk very easily and openly to everyone. And we, being a business that was so online, so transparent, they could talk to us. Most food companies in India designed to be sold, the products to be sold to consumers via retailers. There is a strong disconnect between this strategy wherein, what will get told to a retailer के ये brand को बोलो मेरे को ये product में नमक ज्यादा लग रहा है, that will never sort of be conveyed to the brand. That information will never transpire only. And by the virtue of being in a D2C sort of ecosystem, our consumers started talking to us a lot. So we started listening to them, optimizing and understanding what they want. We also started asking them, why do you want this product? What will you do with it? So it was very clear that such a big country, such a diverse consumer set, such a complicated use case scenario. Some people want to buy a product for health. Some people want to buy it just because they can afford it. Aspirationally, some people want to buy because they want to try a particular cuisine. Some people want to buy because some doctor or medical practitioner has prescribed them Brazil nuts, for example. Diverse use case scenarios, and it all, you cannot walk into a store and ask for specialty products. Specialty products, you need centralized distribution of e-commerce to deliver pan India. So, we took all of those cues and started developing and working on a product strategy. And what you see essentially, Urban Platter is like a one-stop umbrella for buying specialty and gourmet food ingredients. We sell close to 1,200 ingredients in our label. And all of them are designed with a specific intent or desire of a customer, or, sort of, they solve a very specific problem for customers. So, yeah, it's a very well thought, well laid product strategy is what we do at Urban Platter.
So Chirag, today can you tell us, because you gave an example of spices from a particular part of India, or you wanted a customer wanted products from Greece. You spoke about coffee, you spoke about imported food products. So if we have to put together, how would you define Urban Platter? It's the place where you get all imported products, or it can be niche products, or it can be anything that is something exotic or kind of very special products.
I would say it's a blend of all. It could be a one-stop brand wherein you can find specialty gourmet and niche products is what we sort of like to define ourselves as. And depending on the origin of the product, it could be imported, it could be domestic, it could be even manufactured in India. Depends, to each
So,
their own.
so then basically you don't manufacture these products, you source these products. You spoke about packaging, but that is from a sales point of view. But when you produce a coffee from Africa or whichever place it is, you will definitely pack it under the Urban Platter brand.
Yeah, we
My
don't
question,
manufacture anything.
okay, you don't manufacture anything, right? But then how does economies of scale come in, Chirag? Because as we understand, this is a niche market, a specialty products market. Obviously, the quantity has to be less. It's not a mass product. So, how do you
Hmm.
manage the economies of scale and the business?
It's a two-part answer, doctor, but in a very fair question. Uh, First is, we work with the partners who are manufacturers only. We don't work with traders, so thereby eliminating a good chunk of middlemen. And secondly, most of the commodities. Now, say for example, an olive oil coming from Greece will never be manufactured in India. We will have to source it from Greece. बराबर है ना? India में olive oil होता ही नहीं. or for example, Brazil nut. I give you some examples so that it reinforces. I mean, they're grown in Peru or Brazil, so we have to import them. There is absolutely no way you can grow them in India, at least as of now. So, here you work with the best manufacturers, utilize the investment in infrastructure and manufacturing capabilities that they have made, and source it for India. And that is by and large the costs that are associated with it are the cost. That is why olive oil is expensive. That is why food products are expensive because of the very fact that they are not grown in India and there are costs associated with it. So that is you work with the best and you work with the manufacturer and you negotiate well and you manage your economies of scale as you scale. The other bit is since you cannot do too much of one product, you do too many products. So that is why
That's
we as a
what
business.
my next question was. How do you
Yeah.
manage to this challenge?
I don't think it's a challenge. I think I mean, see, typically, if you look at some specialty retailers like Trader Joe's in the US, they would typically have 4 to 5 thousand products in their private label. I think with a very simple, sensible, compliance and discipline-driven infrastructural ecosystem in place, a very data-driven approach, which is I'm a data person quintessentially. So for us, using tech at the core of what we do is by default. Designing systems and processes internally to sort of be in sync with what you're trying to do, and finding specific vendors who would do small batch things for you. Very simple things, packaging material, labels, and all. Typically the MOQs are so high. So we have either bought infrastructure or we work with people who sort of, if we tell them, okay, I just want to try 100 units of a product and you do 100 labels for me, and they'll gladly do it for us. We have the entire ecosystem in place to sort of curate and be in sync with our demands. So that's what we as a business have built over the last 7 to 8 years. And it's very simple now. Agile management comes out of transparency, empowering your people on the ground, and use of technology and timely action. We do a combination of these things, and we are very sort of comfortably able to manage everything.
I want to ask two, three questions. One is on the tech part, and you spoke
Yeah,
about data. You yourself are a techie. Your background is there.
yeah, yeah.
How have you used technology to ensure that Urban Platter streamlines its processes? That is one part of it, but also to reach out to the customer as well as the stakeholder and satisfy them with the products that they need. Ultimately, what the question is, seamless, experience.
So, we use tech, primarily we use tech for our internal administration and operational efficiency a lot rather than business growth. And we use tech everywhere. I'll come to both the bit. I think for internal usage for, sort of inventory management, we deal in 1,200 products. So, there is such a wide, complex range of packaging material, permutation, combination, labels, and small units of inventory available in our system that if we do not use data, we will definitely get confused and we will error a lot. So primarily, we are using technology for error minimization, is what I would say. Secondly, we have developed our entire tech stack in-house. We do not use any outside software or anything. We have a full-fledged, like in this business, my brother is the co-founder. So he is the one who looks into tech, data, and automation. He has completely, done like a robust backend system wherein we can do whatever we want and we will always have answers. The biggest problem is when businesses don't have answers, they take decisions based on instinct and judgment. There is nothing wrong in that except for the fact that data gives you a very clear picture of what is going on. Then you use your instinct and judgment to take a very well balanced decision. So we use primarily data for operational efficiency and error minimization as well. From a just sort of understanding a consumer point of view, since we are in the D2C business and e-com business, we also deal with more or less about 3 million customers annually. So, these are different types of customers. You have to understand where they are coming from, which cities are they from, what are their consumption patterns, what is the growth, what is the degrowth of a particular category, what pack size is consumer preferring, what is the gender of the consumer. You have to understand and evolve with this. I mean, a lot data beyond a point sort of starts telling you what you want to hear. So, having access to so much data, what we essentially do is we just simplify the findings into very simple, understandable things, and not very complicated things. And we use it just for optimizing our product strategy and sometimes understanding about why the particular category suddenly seeing so much growth, why is particular category suddenly seeing degrowth. And sometimes the answers are very simple. है beverages का sales summer के बाद drop हो जाता है, seasonality है, that even that data will tell you. Now you have to understand with your logic. You cannot just sort of harp ke, no data is degrowing, so panic. You don't have to panic. Seasonality plays its own role. So you have to we use the balance of common sense, uh, in simplistic terms, sort of baniya buddhi, and data to sort of understand trends and work on a product strategy, and also find trends and use it to plan our procurement, supplies, purchases, and stuff like that. So yeah, we're very high on tech, but completely meaningless.
I think that's inspirational. All the tech has been built in house, and you give so much importance to tech. You mentioned
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you have close to 3 million customers. How many
Hmm.
SKUs you must be having?
About 1200.
1,200. Okay. Now, Chirag, tell me, how has the customer, changed over the last few years? Or first question is, who typically is a urban platter customer? That is one. And second, if you look at from a holistic point of view, how the customer has changed, in the last few years, especially after 2020.
Fantastic question, Dr. Bhatt. I will give you my own view of this. I think our customer has always been the same, just that their purchase habit, pattern, and expectation has dramatically changed in the last 7 to 8 years. Okay. So it feels as if the customer is totally new. The customer is not new. It's just that, the tendency has become very new. So I think primarily from what I understand, our consumers are like concentrated. Mostly they are about 70% are women in the age of 25 to 45, and the 30% are men. And I often joke that those 30% men are also someone who have been directed by women to sort of purchase from us. So essentially, groceries and specialty foods are very driven by females for sure. And what has changed over the last 5 to 6 years from what I've seen is just the knowledge of the consumer and the questions that they are asking and the accountability that they place on a business like us, the level of scrutiny of labels that the consumers do, the questions that they ask, the kind of emphasis that they've recently started putting on इसमें sugar kitna hai, what is the portion size, why is this product having so much oil, or why is this having so much sugar, or why is it not having as much protein as the similar product in other market, or stuff like that. So sometimes even we are caught off guard that what are we doing wrong, and we try to be very strongly research oriented, compliance oriented, and very transparent in empowering the consumers with right responses. We don't, as a company, we have this internal paradigm that we never give answers, we give responses. If you ask me a question, you will get a very detailed response. So that way, we've been able to win the confidence of the consumers a lot. I think consumers are definitely more aware. The internet has made them more smarter. They're asking very right and very tough questions. And as a food business operator, I think we are absolutely accountable. We have to be very transparent in giving responses to the consumer. You cannot escape that responsibility. So as a business, we take that as our core duty rather than responsibility. And that is what we've seen change. I personally feel in the last 2 years, per capita consumption has gone up. So I see that Average basket sizes have gone up. Consumers are buying more. They are being more experimentative. At the same time, they are being more uh, clear also about what they want. Consumers are becoming very clear about what they don't want also. Like a consumer will definitely tell you that I want a preservative-free product. मेरे को नहीं चाहिए मेरे product में preservative. So, they are becoming increasingly clear, increasingly confident, and increasingly conversational. Is what I feel.
So this 1200 SKUs, can you tell us how do you decide on this? Because obviously, at the core of any business is the consumer. So when you decide on your SKUs, because you have got a coffee, a spice, you have got a jackfruit, on which I'm going to come for getting more details. But how do you decide on your SKUs and the product
And
line?
the product strategy, so most of it is consumer driven. So we have a three-part strategy. If as a consumer you come and tell us that you want a particular product, my team will not even question me and get that product and give it to you. Period. We don't even for one consumer or 1 million consumer. If a consumer says कि मेरे को ये लाके दो, वो हम उनको लाके देते हैं. Specialty product. We are known for this. So the voice of the consumer being the strongest deciding factor in introducing a particular product under the urban platter label. Okay. The second thing is we are in the business of alternatives and specialty ingredients. So we are a completely plant-based company. We don't do anything with meat or dairy in it. We are completely vegan. And a lot of consumers ask for alternatives. Like, let's say I don't want to consume milk. Give me an alternative. I don't want to consume cheese. Give me an alternative. So alternatives is a very big business for us. Replacements or alternatives, whatever you want to call it. And constantly consumers keep asking questions around, can I have an alternative for paneer? So that can be tofu, that can be something else. We keep introducing these alternatives from time to time to the consumers and be very clear with them that look, this is the alternative. It is not going to taste as same as the original product. Take that with a pinch of salt. We'll take your feedback. We'll keep improving the product, but this is what it is. So alternatives are a sort of a product strategy for us. And the third thing is, as a company and as an individual, I'm very obsessed about sort of clean label eating, high quality food products, and also offering a consumer a slightly premiumized experience with compliance and transparency. So there are a lot of legacy product categories in India where you see there is a lot of lack of democratization, especially in the imported food. A lot of imported foods talk to consumers in foreign languages. The grammages are in ounces. The use cases are so alien. Maple syrup, if you buy, it will say that use on pancakes. How many Indians are eating pancakes? I'm sure a lot of them are, but most of them are not. So if it is a sweetener, it has to talk to the Indian consumer. कि इसको शीरा में डालो, हलवा में डालो. You have to simplify. You have to talk to the Indian consumer in a language that they understand, which is what we do. So a lot of times you see that there are very good quality imported products that are available to the consumers and talking to them in a language and a configuration they don't understand only. In some cases, they're non-compliant. In
So
some
here,
cases, they're
so here, do you take care of the FSSAI norms?
absolutely, absolutely. We have a 4 people compliance team. One of them is always stationed in FSSAI office. And yeah, absolutely. We take care of all the FSSAI guidelines, all the FSSAI norms and all that. I'll give you one very simple example, sir, if you may give me a minute. Agave syrup is a very popular sweetener. It is made from the cactus plant found in the deserts of Mexico. Agave syrup is used to manufacture tequila. In India, agave syrup was rather allowed to be imported not as a sweetener, but to manufacture tequila. So you can import a product, but to manufacture a liquor, but not use it as a sweetener. And there was insane demand. We saw consumers constantly saying, agave lake do, agave chahiye, ye chahiye, wo chahiye. We went to FSSA and told them that, boss, what do we do? Tell us here. And they said, you apply for product approval. It took us 9 months, almost, if I'm not wrong, 3,000 pages of data on research to be given to FSSAI. A lot of back and forth, a lot of trips to Delhi, but we got the agave product approved in India. And now we've been given exclusivity to import that in India. So knowledge always gets rewarded and sort of efforts get paid off handsomely. We are importing and selling agave in India legally, officially from Mexico. You have to put effort, work with the regulator, but you can get things done in India. And I strongly, personally, I am a big fan of FSSAI. They are very reasonable. If you understand the true intent of what they're doing, they're doing a phenomenal job.
Chirag, my next question is on supply chain. How does Urban Platter manage its supply chain? Given the kind of business that you are into, you are sourcing products
Mm,
from across the globe and across the country as well. And the
mm,
quality also, depending on the kind of product, the freshness that has to be there, because ultimately you are in a food business and food
yeah.
has to be healthy, fresh, etc. How do you
Mm.
maintain the quality, in your supply chain, and how do you manage it overall?
I'll give you a short and long answer, sir. My supply chain is people management, relationship management. So as long as you are managing your own people very well, those who are looking into procurement, and as long as in return they are managing the vendors and the relationship of the organization with the vendors very well, you are sorted. This is the short answer. It is people management, relationship management. Now the longer answer is for a company like ours doing so many SKUs, there is a very high amount of discipline, process, systems, and parameters that are required to consistently be error-free all the time. A lot of people talk about quality. I have learned one thing that quality is consistency. There is absolutely no point in sourcing the best quality product once and delighting the customer and then settling for something else that you have no control over. I feel that good quality is nothing but consistency. And consistency comes out of knowledge, out of communicating on technical grounds, and out of setting your expectations very clear and negotiating the consequences of going out of that parameters very clearly with the vendor. We have a very simple way of dealing with our vendor. If it doesn't meet my quality, whoever you are, I'll return it to you and I'll take my money back. As simple as that. We do not compromise on this. Usually, we work on tight trade agreements. We make sure that sort of proper negotiations are in place. The vendor is a manufacturer who respects and understands technical compliances and data points very seriously. And we work with people who are appreciative of the business we give to them. So those are basic things that once done, repetitive, you tend to get your sort of outputs right on a daily basis. I also personally feel that, supply chain management is also about, sort of being vigilant, reporting to work every day, understanding the trend, keeping an eye on what has suddenly started selling more, keeping an eye on suddenly what has started not selling or degrowing, uh, making sure that people who handle your warehouses and goods are very well trained. Periodical health checks and quality checks are done. Instead of FSSAI coming and auditing you, you get yourself audited every 3 months. So, those are the things that once you start doing on a daily sort of a basis, supply chain efficiency kicks in. By no means I'm going to say that we are the most supply chain efficient company in the world or something, but at least we've got our basics in place and we keep improving on them from time to time. So combination of sort of people management, vendor management, tech, having the right practices in place and having the right sort of vigilance in place helps. And this is what we do to sort of manage the supply chain.
Chirag, last point is on marketing. 2015,
Yeah.
when you started, you may have got one, two, three, or a couple of products. Today, you are at
Hmm.
1,200 SKUs. How
Hmm.
did you do your marketing? And also tell us about your journey, because you started as an online brand and now you have expanded to offline as well. So talk to us about your marketing strategy and how you went on, marketing Urban Plateau over the years.
So I personally believe that if you sort of have to sell your product, then you better not make the product. Uh, any product worth its sort of value should never be sold, but should only be made, and the consumer should do the buying. Anything too complicated, which is not understandable by the consumer anyway, doesn't sell. No matter whoever says, no matter whatever you say. So, firstly, product level simplification and product quality. are the two things, and to a fair extent, even product availability. See, we are essentially in the business of unlocking availability of specialty ingredients to the consumers. So already there is a very basic, small niche demand of these products. Once available, consumers start buying that. So that in itself is an act of marketing, to be honest with you. We use basic advertising, influencers, and sort of social media and content creation to just inform our customers that XYZ product is available and this is what you can make with it. For us, marketing is a combination of content creation, telling the customers what they can do with the product rather than selling the product. And last but not the least, we also believe in a very holistic approach wherein we feel that marketing should be used for sharing knowledge and educating the consumers rather than generating sales. Sales should be byproduct of creating demand in the mind of a consumer. So we work with that mindset, that approach, and as a company, we spend less than 2% of our sales on marketing. We're not a very marketing heavy company. We've never traditionally spent a lot on marketing. I get a lot of controversy for such a statement that we spend less on marketing and stuff like that. But we that is the honest truth. We've never spent too much on marketing, and we never want to. And our customers, with their own word of mouth and repetitive purchases, are the best marketing agents. So, if I were to invest my time and money into something, I would rather invest in making a great product and let it market itself rather than spend money on marketing. So that's essentially what we do day in and out. We do very minimal marketing, and that too with an intent of just letting the consumers know, because there is so much voice and noise out there that you have to inform the consumer that such product is available. Otherwise, it will never be discovered. So we do a lot of sampling. We do a lot of cross communication. An existing urban platter consumer will always get sort of information or sample of what we are doing next. So we do a lot of those activities, but we per se do not spend a lot of money on marketing or advertising.
Chirag, coming back to the funding part of it,
Yeah.
I think you have recently raised a strategic round.
Mm.
How important it has been, in the journey of Urban Platter, and how do
Mm.
you see going ahead
Mm.
the expansion and the growth strategy for Urban Platter?
So, we've traditionally been a very family-held business. Me and my brother were handling it for the 5 years of inception. During COVID in 2021, we raised around a strategic funding from the Jubilant Group. This is Urban Platter is a personal investment and not necessarily a strategic investment per se. And they are a significant minority shareholder in the company. I personally, share a lot of values and vision with them, and they also believe a lot in our ability to sort of do what we are doing better. The funding was raised with a very simple intent of strengthening what we are good at, and also sort of giving us more firepower to grow. And essentially, we've done three things post funding, which we'll continue to do. Is first is strengthen our supply chain and operational ability and efficiency. Secondly, offline expansion, things like setting up our own stores, ensuring availability, general trade, modern trade, having more distributors pan India, and making sure that at least in all the tier one and two cities we are available in at least 2,000 stores across India. We are very close to that goal. And the third reason of raising funding was also sort of to have a strategic advisor who is long term in the game, who is patient, who is also, personally, the Jubilant Group is very well known for sort of its foray in the food business, given the fact that they manage Domino's India and Dunkin' and all that. So, these are the people who sort of have a lot of clarity over the voice of the Indian consumer, things like supply chain management, things like sort of marketing, things like brand building, things like strategic directions at times. When you need a solid partner who believes in your vision and also sort of helps you when needed. So they've been a phenomenal partner, sort of in and instrumental in our growth, and we couldn't be happier. Yeah.
So, Chirag, with this, we'll come to the final rapid fire round. and I'll be asking a few questions on
Sure, sure.
this one. Which is your favorite product or product category offered by Urban Platter?
I'm a big fan of our oat milk. So yeah, oat milk for sure. We were the
Describe
first
Urban
company in
Platter.
India to launch oat milk, and we do the best oat milk in India. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Describe Urban Platter's brand proposition in 3 words.
Simply good food.
Simply good food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
If Urban Platter has a had a superpower, what would it be?
The ability to remove food additives from processed and packaged foods.
Okay. Good. What's the most memorable customer feedback you have received?
Oh, just a year ago, we sell a specialty ingredient called carob gum, and that we use as a stabilizer in our almond milk and oat milk. And we had this sort of message from a lady who wrote us a very big text saying that, why is this product so expensive and could you make it cheaper? And we asked her, this is an expensive product, it cannot be made cheaper because we don't manufacture it. And out of curiosity, why would you want it to be cheaper and why are you buying three units of it also? And she mentioned that, she has a 1-year-old child with an intestinal issue wherein anything the child consumes, the intestines are not able to hold. But when mixed with this additive, the body can function and ensure survival of the child.
Wow.
So, we sort of offered the product at the lady cost to cost basis, and she wrote this beautiful message that my child survived because of you, and not necessarily survive, but he can have food, and thank you for making such a fantastic product available to the consumers. And if it wasn't for you, I would have helplessly seen my child suffer in silence. But while you may sell it as a food product, for us it is medicine and a survival product. And that was extremely deeply motivating for us.
That,
That was
Chirag,
one
that was
moment of life I'll never forget.
yeah, that was very nice of you to help
Yeah.
her in this moment. That's
Yes,
good.
of course.
Yeah. Next, what's the most
Yeah.
memorable? What's the most exotic ingredient Urban Platter has ever featured?
Lot of them. We are in the business of exotic ingredients per se. I would personally say that I have myself been delighted and blown away by one ingredient. That is sort of the blue pea flower. It is basically the blue pea tea is something when you brew it, the water is blue. And when you add a few drops of lemon, it dramatically becomes purple. So that kind of dramatization is very delightful to see to me. And I find that
One,
important. So
one city in the world where you would like for Urban Platter to be a hit, apart from India,
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the secret ingredient that makes Urban Platter stand out as a brand?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Oh, name your closest competitor.
No one.
None.
What we were yesterday.
Okay, last question will be in numbers. If you can answer this in numbers,
Yeah.
where do you see Urban Platter 5 years down the line, Chirag?
Our aspiration to become is to become 1,000 crore food company, and I think
1,000 crore
made
food
that.
company, 5 years
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah.
With this, thank you very much, Chirag Kenia, founder of Urban Platter. Thanks for joining us today at the D2C Dialogues. And we wish you all the very best to become 1,000 crore companies in the next 5 years. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Doctor. But I just want to take a moment to appreciate what you're doing and sort of being instrumental catalyst in helping people understand and share knowledge. And I've also sort of want to appreciate the contribution of retail fraternity to the general masses of India and the well-being of this country, and also sort of playing a role in making sure that people live very consistent, high quality lives. So that is highly motivating and extremely appreciated. No matter what happens, the brick and mortar trade is sort of never going away. And I would say more power to you, and hope you are more empowered to help new age companies like us to realize our goal. So, in any way possible, if I can contribute to your purpose, your cause, I'm more than happy. But I want to say that whatever you are doing is highly appreciated and
Thank you very
acknowledged.
much, Chirag. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Appreciate,
you.
and we'll definitely connect and take this ahead in the future.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure. All the best.
Thank you.